What's up, everyone? Today's video is simply going to be about what we typically bring on a car camping trip. This video in particular is for a car camping trip that might last 1 to 2 days, not a huge week excursion or 3 or 4 night trip, just a night out in the mountains by a river or a creek to get away from it all when you need a break. We're going to walk you through our sleeping setup and some of our favorite gear essentials that we have with us when it comes to car camping. We're going to get started with the sleeping platform. You guessed it. Here at Heli Outdoors, we make a sleeping platform. We'll talk about that in a second. But this is the most critical element for two reasons. Number one, obviously, a good night's sleep is so critical when you're going on these adventures. You want to feel recharged, to get out there, get in nature, and have fun. And number two is the space aspect. So it doesn't matter if you're in a truck, an SUV, the space you have is limited. And if you've got just a foam pad that's sitting on the floor of your vehicle, that is taking up so much room for other gear or items that you could bring that might be essentials for you and your trip. If you've got the back of your vehicle, the back of your truck fully loaded with gear, supplies, food, you name it, and then it's time to go to bed and you got to roll that pad out, well, now where does all your gear go? Does it sit outside in the elements getting rained on? Are you doing the cha-cha slide trying to stuff everything into the front seats? Obviously, it takes a lot of time to do that. If you get to a spot late, or you're doing this in the dark. So having some type of setup that's ready to go, that you don't have to move, you can set it up before you leave, or set it up once you're there and you don't have to take it down again, is critical. That's why you elevate your sleeping platform so you can have all this storage space throughout the whole length of how you sleep, of your sleeping life. Now, if you don't have a sleeping platform today, that's fine. And once again, if you're using the pad down there and it works for you, solid, keep doing it. But if you're in the market for an elevated sleeping platform, check out the Heli Box. It's extremely modular, really lightweight, easy to set up, fits in most trucks and SUVs, Subarus, Toyotas, Jeeps, you name it. Right now we have the Solo version in here. We're coming out with the Duo in a couple of weeks. The Heli Box is actually a 3-in-1 system. Obviously, you got your sleeping platform here, mission critical, get that good night's sleep. The carrying case that it comes with doubles as compartmentalized storage. You can load it up with all your gear and your goodies. You can either access it like I just did by sliding it out, or you can pop off this wooden slatted topper to get access to it. And last but not least, it's so light that you can actually take this thing out, swing it around, and prop it out at the back of your vehicle to use as a camping table. So one less thing you have to bring on your trip, gives you that elevation, gives you a ton of storage space underneath, as well as in the footwells. If you don't have a system today and you're not in the mood to build one, awesome option for you. I'll drop a link down in the description. And just to give you a quick close-up of what I mean by having the extra storage space when you're elevated, right? So I can pop this slat off, slide it forward on both sides. Here's the carrying case that the Heli Box comes in. I can zip it open. It's actually compartmentalized so you can load it up with your gear and your goodies. It takes up about half the space of this platform. And you'll see on the other end, right, I've got all that empty space in there that I could load up with additional clothes and gear. Going with my partner, this thing is fully loaded top to bottom. So right now I'm solo and I have a bit of extra space. But having that space is ideal. That way, right, when it comes time to go to bed, my pad on here, leave it on, I'm sleeping, I'm good to go. I don't need to set anything up. I don't need to move the stuff that's typically here to the front seats. Everything is just locked and loaded. This platform is extremely modular, so I can raise it or lower it depending on my needs. If I'm bringing something bigger that needs to fit underneath, the world's really your oyster here. All right, moving on to our next critical essential item that we bring with us when we go car camping, a portable air compressor. This thing I think was maybe $100 and some change on Amazon. But if you're taking the path, less traveled, airing down your tires, really getting into the thick of it, having something like this can be so critical to get you out of a sticky situation. We actually have one of those tire patch kits just stuffed in this bag with it. So if you do come across a flat that you can fix on the trail, awesome, stuff that in there, pump up your tires, and you're good to go. Really recommend having some type of portable air compressor if you're doing overlanding and off-road type adventures. We bring it with us on just about every trail we go on. Next up is a cooler, a trusty cooler that will keep your food nice and cool for at least a few days, depending on how long your trip goes. Today I just threw in my soft shell Yeti. I've got a bigger lifetime cooler that I bring with me if I'm doing longer trips. But the key here is just to make sure that I can keep whatever food that you're bringing with you cold for a few days. Now, you don't need to go out and buy a brand new Yeti. This one was gifted to me, and that lifetime hard cooler that I found on Facebook Marketplace for $50. It retails for about $150 or $120 on. I think they sell it at Walmart, and that thing's an absolute beast. It's been with me for 2 years. So by no means do you need to go out to REI and spend hundreds of dollars on a new cooler. There's so many that are out there that you can buy used for a better deal. And with the technology in coolers today, most of them are going to keep your ice cold and your food cold for quite a long time. So cooler, mission critical, and obviously make sure you pack enough food and drinks in there to last it. Okay, moving on to the storage tote. So I usually bring this with me on most of my trips just for additional storage space. It's got my fishing waders on top. If I'm going anywhere near a body of water, which I usually do when I go carp camping because I love to fish, waders come with me. You've already seen my fly rod and my fishing gear hanging around. But this fits in here. I've got 2 fold-up camping chairs, bear spray. If I'm going into bear country, critical, you can bring a tactical belt, or if you have a belt loop, keep it on you at all times when you're in bear country. And then at the bottom, we've got a green Coleman stove, and then the Coleman gas tank on the other end. This setup goes with me everywhere when I'm camping. That Coleman stove is absolutely bulletproof. I've cooked so many meals on it. The thing's absolutely solid. And as for like choosing your storage tote, there's so many different shapes and sizes. We like to use one that's a little more lower profile. If it could extend out a little further, that'd be awesome too. Just because it's a less top heavy when you're taking tight turns or things are getting a little bumpy on the trails. When it comes to finding where to purchase this, there's so many different places. You can go to Home Depot. They've got a million options. I've actually seen them in Costco recently. So a ton of places you can get these. They're your best friend and really helpful to organize your gear on it. You can actually put little labels with tape that says, camping gear, winter gear. If you're an organization freak like me, they'll be your best friend. All right, moving on to the sleeping bag. So you can bring blankets, load up with them. It definitely gives it a cozier looking aesthetic, but nothing beats a decent or solid sleeping pad. I got this at REI maybe 3 years ago. It's awesome. I've taken this on trips that have gotten pretty dang close to 25 degrees, maybe even a little colder, and I have to throw an extra blanket on in that scenario. But this works great for summer, spring, late spring, and early fall camping. It'll keep you nice and warm and cozy. Once again, don't have to buy a brand new one. There's a ton out there used in the marketplace, and this is one thing that REI usually actually has a pretty good sale on, and they're reasonably priced. So keep your eyes out on Labor Days or holidays coming up. You'll typically be able to find their sleeping pads on sale for a pretty good deal. Here's life, and making sure you have ample water on your trip is critical. And to do that, we recommend having a big water tote like this, or maybe 2 of them. Either way, making sure that you separate your drinking water from your campsite water. So what do I mean by that? Right, this big tote right here, we use this for washing our hands, washing our bodies, washing our plates, you name it. Anytime it comes to cleanup or needing water on the site, we use it out of this tote. And then we'll have a separate gallon, 2 gallons, or a completely separate tote of water that we use for drinking. This way you can keep your tabs on your water supply and know that you're not dipping into your drinking water when you're washing your hands or cleaning up your dishes at the campsite. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I appreciate everyone taking some time to tune in today. Let us know what else you want to see in those comments. You want a more detailed video, what we do on a larger trip. You want to get more insight into what we bring in our Heli Box bag. Our whole goal here at Heli Outdoors is trying to remove the barriers and make getting outdoors easier for you. So let us know what type of content you'd like to see on our next video.